What's up? Good morning, good afternoon, good night, good evening, wherever you're at, tuned in here to the daily live stream here in BitLab Academy. My name is Kelly Kellam, and welcome to the show. Let me know if we have any issues with any audio, visual, whatever it is. If you just need to see my face a little bit closer, or if you need me to back up, whatever it is, I'm here for you. My whole goal with all of this is just to make sure that I can share the experience I've had on my journey through crypto, throughout all the things that have gone on in crypto since I've been involved. And of course, I was trading for several years before I was involved in crypto, doing traditional assets. I wish I knew about Bitcoin as earlier on than I found out, because I was also actively doing penny stocks and just complete numbskullery back in the day. And man, have I learned a lot throughout this entire journey. So I just want to shout out everybody that has started this journey. And I know you started this journey because you are here with us in BitLab Academy. You're here with us. I see you all not only on this stream, not only here in the BitLab Academy daily stream. I see you on BitBoy channel in the comments. I see you on Frankie Candles. I see you on Cryptos R Us. I see a lot of you all over the place. So special shout out to everybody that's just basically putting in the effort to learn, especially after we've had such a hard year in 2022. If you are still here, shout out to you, and make sure you are hitting that like button, hitting that subscribe button, dinging that bell. And I'm going to say it again. My name's Kelly Kellam. If you haven't met me before, if you haven't seen the show before, I'm here for you. This is a community. We're doing this together. So again, we're going to drive up that percentage that we have watching the stream, because there's a lot of people that tune in daily that are not subscribed yet. So hit that subscribe button, ding that bell, be a part of our community. We're going to go ahead and dive in. We're going to be looking at a bunch of stuff today. We had a great interview yesterday with Crypto Burb, so special shout out to him. Adrian is a wonderful guy. Out of the kindness of his heart, he spends his time and his energy really sort of breaking down what's going on with his own sort of perspective on the market. So, just appreciate having him on, because he is a force within the space. Today is my birthday. I'm wearing my Bitcoin hat. We can also call it B for birthday. But you know what? I'm just here to grow. Every day is a new day. We have to always remember, as much as we think we may know, let's start the day assuming that we know nothing. Let's start the day, each time we approach our trading terminal, each time we approach our trading desk, let's start it with not humanity, well, that as well. Let's start each day with humility. And with humility, then we can have an open mind, and therefore we can look at the charts with a sort of open perspective about what's possible. We're going to be having a couple people popping in to the show today. So I'm going to go through a couple charts just to get things sort of framed out for what I want to look at to start the show. And then I'll be popping in with some other guests here on the show as this moves along. So again, shout out to everybody in the chat. Big love to everybody. Shout out to all the mods. We have such a wonderful community of mods. They've even organized their own Discord that we all sort of coordinate on what we can do, how we can grow, what we can do to make the show better for you all. Because again, this isn't about me talking at you. This is about me talking with you. Unfortunately, there's not a microphone for you all to talk directly back to me, but a way that you all can engage with this show is to drop comments right there in the live comment box if you are watching here on the BitLab Academy live stream. And if you're watching at the 24/7 show over at Hit Network, shout out to everybody there as well. Get in that community, discuss and chat in the comment box. And then at some point, pop over here to the youtube.com/@BitLab Academy. That's how you get directly to the BitLab Academy page. And make sure you are checking out the BitLabAcademy.com website. The updates are already starting to get scheduled. I know this has been way too long coming. It's just such a massive ordeal we've had to get this all going. And it's basically, we're planning for the third week of March to have the new website rolled out. And then we'll be rolling out new courses basically every couple weeks for the rest of the year. We're starting with a group of new courses just to begin with, but there's going to be new stuff regularly there, and prices will be going up. So I do really recommend getting in there now. You'll have access to the full premium Discord that is a part of BitLab Academy with a lot of wonderful stuff there. So that's all I got for shilling. I'm going to go ahead and go through a couple things here now. I do see one of our guests is here, but I'm going to bring him up in a second. And just to let you know, to the guest, your camera is not working. I'm not seeing it. But I'm going to go through a couple charts here, and we're going to talk about what's going on. So first things first, I just kind of wanted to point this out because I thought it was quite funny. This is essentially what we're seeing with Bitcoin and the rest of the market. Other assets look like they could be smooth. Other assets look like they're doing what they should be doing. But then at the end of the day, we also have all kind of volatility that happens. We have to face all this stuff. But one of the things that Bitcoin has that nothing else has is a transparent, engineered mechanism that lets us know what the supply dynamics are and how they reduce over time so that we can plan accordingly and understand how we can capitalize on that supply and demand dynamic. So I just want to move through these really quickly, and then I'm going to bring on our first guest. Make sure you come over to check out BitLab Academy Twitter page, which is right here at Academy BitLab on Twitter, and come over here. It's my birthday. Come over here and share this tweet right here. This is the tweet from today. Go ahead and share this. Let your people know what's going on so they can come and join this community and learn. Now, a couple more things I wanted to show is this is just something else funny, is right here. Leading economic indicators point towards a collapsing GDP as economic weakness emerges. This is something we have to take into context. As bullish as we want everything to be, we want to make sure that regardless of how bullish we want things to be, we are having to pay attention to what's happening in the grander economic context of what's happening, because if there's a lot of uncertainty in the traditional markets, that will bleed over and maybe not driving Bitcoin down, but at minimum, it will at least reduce the amount of liquidity that will be allocated towards a risk asset like Bitcoin, and even furthermore on smaller altcoin projects the further down the coin market cap rankings you go. Now, another chart I wanted to just point out here is basically the stage for the next legs down is being set, and we can see this right here. Basically, this is soft versus hard economic surprises, and this has basically to do with what's the economic forces that are driving traditional markets. And we can see as this rolls over what happens with the SPX, which is essentially the S&P 500. More bearish context, that could be bleeding into the markets. Now, we need to have a little bit of hope with all this, because Bitcoin is and should be a standalone asset as it relates to other things going on within the entire investment ecosystem. At some point, we have to be prepared. It might not be, it's not going to be today or tomorrow or next month, but at some point over the next decade, maybe decade plus, Bitcoin will be one of those assets that breaks away from having that correlation directly tied with, as strong as it is right now with traditional assets. So we just currently still need to be paying attention to this. Now, of course, we can also see this right here, which is basically the total market cap, excluding Bitcoin, altcoin market cap. We see this ascending wedge. We have found a rejection here, but we do have another sort of base level of support that could be coming in, basically drawn from this sort of trend line of resistance on these levels. And as this comes down, we do have the 200-day moving average basically directly below us. And then just below that is this trend line support. So we really want to keep an eye on what's going on with this, because this will have a big impact on anybody that's investing in altcoins, in the liquidity coming into or out of the altcoin market. Now, the last thing I wanted to show is this right here, which is essentially Bitcoin November 2022 into March of 2023. We see this, basically relief, breakdown, sideways consolidation, FTX collapse, reaccumulation, and then push up. Well, we're having a similar thing here. Basically, this is on a much smaller time frame, but this is essentially February and March, just on the 45-minute time frame. But we're seeing this similar sort of action play out. And could this be something that we're looking for right here and getting that drop down to the 20K region that we had discussed? Well, I don't know, but what we can do is utilize our technical indicators, utilize our price action, look at the grander context of what's going on so we can make educated guesses based on probabilities so that we can trade these markets. Now, we do have a guest here in the wings. I just want to know, Mr. TW, are you able to hear what I am saying? I don't know if he can hear me, so I'm going to kind of hold off there. Just give me 1 second. I'm going to message him. Is your camera working? Okay, there we go. Well, we have a guest that will be popping on here in a moment. I'm not sure if his Zoom is working. All right, well, man. Okay, there we go. All righty. Bam. Mr. Tim Warren, how are you doing, my brother? Can you hear me? Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Holy moly. Well, how about this? We're going to do this. Can you hear me now? We're having a little bit of technical difficulties here on my birthday. I'm going to go ahead and write him a message. Change your speaker to... Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pull up the charts as he is sorting that out. I'm going to pull up the charts while he's sorting that out, and when he says he can hear me, I'll be able to hear him. Then I will go ahead and bring him back up. So what we want to look at right now is, and I brought this up the other day on the charts, talking about long-term holders. Can you still not hear me? It's all good. Well, hello. So one of the things, I am just going to have to continue here. One of the things that we talked about the other day when we were looking at, so Mr. Tim Warren, how are you doing, my friend?
What's going on, man?
All right. Let me go ahead and unmute you on Zoom. Now go ahead and talk.
Hey, does everybody hear me?
I see your audio levels are pumping here, so they should be able to hear you and see you. Thank you for the patience, everybody. We're doing a lot of live, quick action, last minute sort of birthday guest stuff here. You can hear me and everything. Is that correct, Timbo Slice?
I don't know what I just did, but I started hearing you through Zoom. So we're up and running. First of all, Kelly, happy freaking birthday to Kelly Kellam. Can I sing the Kelly Kellam song to start off this?
Just so everybody knows, Tim, it's wonderful to have Tim here on the stream with me. I've been in crypto for a long while, but I moved in the professional side of crypto on the working in, doing YouTube and other media platforms with the Crypto Jeb team, all wonderful brothers of mine, from Jeb to Tim to T-Shroom to, the whole team there, Smay. So I'm very happy to have Tim here on the stream. We've done a lot of production together, and every day I would come into the office, they would sing this song, Hit It.
Kelly Kellam, 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 Kelly Kellam.
Yeah, there it is. Now, to keep it professional, which we cannot do because we are just some playful monkeys. Okay, we're gonna be doing some rapid fire stuff here. I'll have you. Well, basically, have to have you on and do a longer form interview in the near future. But I want to know what do you pull up the Bitcoin chart? Give me some. You don't need to do a long, drawn out TA thing. Give me your basic. Yeah. What are the levels you're seeing right now? What do you think the likelihood is, up or down? And then give me one altcoin pick that you're also seeing, and give me the levels on that.
Yeah, so I'll keep this nice, short, and sweet. We talked about it this morning over on Investing Bros. I think there's short-term support. 4 hour is actually showing support. This chart prime oscillator that we have, a phenomenal tool, showing us oversold, showing us bullish divergence. But out on the 12-hourly chart, it doesn't look as bullish. One of the cool features that I've been using here more recently is these predictive ranges, these volume, the areas of support and resistance. One of the strongest one we're seeing right now, down on the 12-hour chart, is all the way at 18,000. And then you mix that with this Fibonacci. I've been working with and kind of talking to this guy who's like a Elliott Waves and Fibonacci expert. His name's Elianachi. We were talking very heavily about this explosive wave that we had here. This was a wave 3 of Elliott Waves. And he said, traditionally, this is what he's teaching me. Traditionally, when you see explosive wave 3s of Elliott Wave, you're looking for a pullback down, best case scenario, golden pocket, but more realistically, closer towards the 0.786. Well, guess what falls right there? That number one predictive range of support at 1,800. I think realistically, there's a lot of support right there on 18,451. That is former resistance we had back in December. So I'm not expecting a straight drop there, but after playing out a nice little wave of Elliott Waves, after we've had the bullish momentum come in, and now everything has changed. It's just so crazy how TA was calling for a reversal there at 25.2 in a more macro timeline, but we had to wait for the news to catch up. Watch all of this bearish news be the scapegoat and the excuse for the reason why the charts are really saying it's time to pull back down towards 18,000, 18,400 or so. But guess what? On a more macro timeline, let me take this down real quick. On a more macro timeline, that's still higher lows. I'm not ready, Kelly, yet to say that the bottom isn't in. I think there's a case to be made that we still go lower. But right now, I am expecting and looking for a macro pullback. We'll hesitate here at 21.5 because that's strong support. But I'm not going to be surprised if we see the Bitcoin price starting with 1.8 here over the next month or so. And then it's about regrouping, seeing where we are, and then starting off again. Again, macro, that's still a higher low, so I still stay long-term bullish. I'm just bearish on the more secondary trend type of level.
So let me ask you a question. Do you feel like, I agree with the levels that you're pointing out there. Do you feel like, we have the CME gap down around, I think around $19,900 to $20,000, which is also right in that golden pocket level. Do you feel like what do you think the likelihood is of finding support there and then having the wick down to the level you're talking about versus just cutting through it? Do you feel like if we actually just cut through that golden pocket region and continue pushing down, do you think that 18 will hold, or do you think that there's a possibility that we could retest the 16, not all the way maybe down to 15.5, but retesting that 16 level?
Yeah, I absolutely think there's a possibility. I'll go back over to this screen and I'll take down my Fibonacci, pull back up what I had going over here with different predictive levels. Let me go back down to the 12-hourly chart. Lots of levels here. There's another cool feature. I'm going to pull this one up. I can also look at some nice predictive ranges on the 4-hour and the daily at the same time. There's going to be a lot of mess that goes on here, so you're going to have to stay with me. But I learned about messy screens from Kelly Kellam. You are the king of them, but you make such magic off of them. So I'm learning. I'm not at your level yet, but I'm getting there. Look at all these lines. First of all, I do think we're going to find a little bit of support right here at 21.5. So I'm not going to be surprised in a more micro level. We're kind of in a falling wedge pattern. Not going to be surprised to see us bounce, come back up, maybe around 22,000 again. We were struggling there. We have a wick down there, but then we're going to fall down. We're going to come back down, maybe down towards this number 2 level. We break out of this falling wedge. We make a little bit of a push, but now 21.5 turns back into resistance. We fall down. We play with these levels, and it's a process of getting down here. And it might not follow that exact level, but it's not going to be, I talked about on the show this morning. When I say 18,000, we're not doing that. That's not the move. The move is definitely going to be bouncing on all these levels and then making our way down there. And I think you're right. I think a wick makes a lot more sense than candle body closes. We will have to address what happens. So do we officially get that 50 basis point hike from the Fed? Is all this just like we had to wait for the FTX drama to get behind us? We are waiting for this Silvergate drama to get behind us. It will be a very confusing and it's going to be an emotional roller coaster is what it's going to be. But in a macro fashion, it's going to just slowly but surely make its way downwards. But again, you zoom back out to a big trend. It's still, I'm expecting a higher low to be set around that 18,000, 18.5, in which case you got to zoom out and be like, hey, we're still setting these higher lows. This is still long-term bullish. It's just not doing everything exactly the way we might have wanted it to do it.
So, I appreciate that analysis, and now it's turning into a debate crypto sort of show. We got Mr. Scott Melker in the house as well, the wolf of all streets, not just some of them, not just the individual ones where your favorite McDonald's is for a late night snack. We got Mr. Scott Melker in the house as well. So shout out to him. Two people that I hold very dear in my heart in the crypto ecosystem. And I want to shout out Tim for 1 second. If you all have not yet, make sure you come over and follow Tim right here, which is at Tims_TA. He also has his own YouTube channel now with his compatriot, his compadre, Mr. T Shroom, called Investing Bros. So definitely check them on. They're on before they're on earlier than I am, at 9 o'clock. And just so everybody knows, and I'm not sure everybody is fully aware of this, there's some people that do this in the space and some people that don't. I think some people just willy-nilly go up there and throw a YouTube show on for a specific time. But I remember when I was trying to pick the time that I was going to be doing the BitLab Academy daily stream, I'm like, damn, there's so many people in this space that I respect. How do I figure out how to fit in? So, because I want to watch Scott's show, I want to watch Investing Bros, I want to watch Crypto Jab, I want to watch Tom Crown, and I want to, basically, even if I'm unable to watch, I want to provide the platform without dividing people's time and having to pick favorites. Because every one of these people in the space, while I agree with some of them more than other, every sort of opinion in the space is valuable in doing that thing called do your own research. If you only follow one person, then you're going to set yourself up for disaster, because you want to find people you agree with, and you want to find people that really challenge what you're seeing in the charts, because they will show you things, they will show you paths, they will show you different almost said stimulations that's not appropriate for crypto, different situations within the charts that you may not have looked at. So Scott, how you doing? Thank you for being here. Any thoughts on what Tim said? What are you seeing in the market, and how the hell are you doing, brother?
Good, man. Happy birthday. First of all,
thank you very much, brother. I'm well, you know what? My body is about 85 after having over 80 surgeries from 2 different motor vehicle accidents. My body's about 80, but my mind's about 16, but my chart wisdom is about 11 and a half.
Perfect. Perfect. I thought you were going to say that your body was 85 from your years DJing in New York City clubs like mine is, but maybe that's our brains.
You know what? Hey, to that point, I actually did a tweet this morning that it's almost like it was a Freudian slip. And I said, what did I say? I said something specifically. I said, let me come to it. I said something about the morning. I said, basically about how in my youth, mornings were really the wrap up of a long night of partying, whereas now mornings are excitedly fresh and setting up for how I'm going to dominate what I'm working on. So I definitely agree with that. You know, it could completely change a lifestyle. And you know what? My bank account, my life, my health is all happier for it. So I'm sure you can relate to that.
I wake up now about the same time that I went to bed in my DJ career, like, you know, within an hour, somewhere between 4 and 5 a.m. for sure.
And I do it
right now. Honestly, all I'm thinking about at the moment right now is that I need like an angular bookshelf with really cool shit on it. And because both of you guys have those,
you're missing out.
I'm mesmerized by your backgrounds, to be quite honest. But yeah, I guess you want to talk about markets, right? I honestly, I was finishing my stream. Yeah,
to be fair, that is just a green screen snapshot of the BitLab, so it looks the same when I'm in New York versus when I'm in Atlanta.
Awesome. Yeah. It looks super real. Yeah, you're not doing that weird blurry thing. I guess that's the benefit of the green screen. I mean, as for the market, unfortunately, I missed a lot of what he was saying because I signed on. Really glad that I wasn't like picking my nose or something, because I didn't know that right the minute that I hit enter on Zoom, I was going to be on the stream. So that was cool. Like I could have come in shirtless or something super weird. Hey, but so I missed a lot of what he said. I think the gist, Tim, is correct that you think it's kind of going to mosey its way down to 18-ish.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm seeing happen right now. And but again, long term it's one of the things, like you got the small trends, you're a little bullish, then other trends you're bearish, and then long term you're bullish. I think all of us are long term bullish. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here talking to you guys today. But
yeah, I mean, I tend to concur. I struggle at this point to figure out where I think that bottom of this move might be. But I think that for now, there's a lot of unnecessary panic when we're sort of just ranging between levels, right? I mean, if I've kind of had 25,212 pinned on my charts forever, because a break of that would have been a break in bear market structure. That's the line that would have broken the series of lower lows and lower highs that we've had since 69,000, right? And so for me, there was literally nothing to celebrate. I love this huge bounce from the low 15s to 25. I love retracing all of the effects of FTX to the upside in only 2 months. A lot to be excited about there. But for me, it was like nothing to celebrate until I saw a daily, but really a weekly close above 25.12. And as usual, that's right. I mean, literally, we had 3 daily candles hit that level and close below. I mean, kind of bearish SFPs. And then, really just slightly above. And then, of course, with massively overbought conditions, of course, with bearish divergence, the things I'm looking at all the time, that was also the 250 MAs death crossing on the weekly. It would have taken such a massive move to push through a level like that. And I just don't think it had that much steam after already going up so significantly. So I think that was, listen, I'm not shorting Bitcoin, but I think if you were trading, that was a gratuitous short for a high risk reward to take a shot there, because the invalidation was so easy. See a candle close above it, you exit, you flip long and ride the wave. But of course, as humans do, we saw them get massively bullish at resistance, right? I mean, that's why it's resistance and that's why it works. And now we're going to get massively bearish at support. Well, 21,473.
Let me ask you guys a sort of question here, or just posit an idea. I think I'd be interested to hear your thoughts. I feel like we went away from people really even talking about the 4-year cycle with the never ending, what it felt like the never ending downtrend of 2022. And then once we had the FTX crash in November 5th, November 6th of last year, then we finally got the price action going below the long-term holder realized price, which has always proven to be excellent sort of zone, at least for accumulation for longer term plays. Now, as soon as we get that one bullish push, which as you just pointed out, This is a funny thing. As soon as we got one bullish push that did not even clear that previous range high of 25,200, 25,250, within that push, everybody goes, "We're in a bull market again," and they're not really. People are not really hadn't really recognized that. We didn't just have a bear market in 2022. We had a catastrophe of basically sentiment within the crypto industry because of the nonstop cascading liquidations between a lot of thought to be very trusted institutions, whether, and it all cyclically came back to FTX. It started with Celsius, then, we had Three Arrows Capital, Voyager, BlockFi, and then FTX. And it turns out FTX was also the one that pushed the dominoes at the beginning in the first place. And so we get this bullish impulse after that long down sort of a trend that we had, and everybody, and not everybody specifically, but short-term holders started accumulating, and everybody, a lot of people were just trying to tout bull market. Whereas right now, when we look at the charts, you see that you can see, Tim, if you pull up the Bitcoin chart real quick while I'm talking, you'll see on the down that we had a large descending wedge, which is an inherently bullish structure, especially on macro. But within that the descending wedge that we had, we did have the retest. We did have the retest breakout on essentially where the price broke above. Exactly what you're showing. We had that initial retest, and then the smaller momentum push up, and then now the reason I'm bringing this up after my little soliloquy there was everybody's thinking that we're in a bull market because we broke that and we retested resistance and now it's support. Whereas my argument with this is exactly in line with what you're just saying, Scott. I think that there needs to be a lot more of a test of that previous resistance, and that would be perfectly in line with what you're saying, Scott, with what Tim's saying, what I've been saying is as bullish as I want it to be, coming down and testing that CME gap sort of zone, whether we actually fully hit it or not, but the $20,000 region, likely having a little bit of a test below that will really help clear up and solidify. We got to really solidify that the bullishness is coming in, not just having a weak bullish impulse due to such lack of sort of confidence in the space. I'm just sort of curious y'all's thoughts on that, and if you think we'll get that sort of retest and then a slow sort of push up to the upside, or do people need to prepare for having something more like in 2015 where we had, people that have only been in the last 2 years don't understand how boring 2015 was, with months and months of just sideways ranging action with 20 to 30% pumps and the 20 to 50% dumps, and it was just sideways action. What's your sort of thoughts right now on reclaiming the positive sort of confidence that we need to actually have money come in to support upward movement?
I'll take this first and I'll let Scott go a second. There was a call I made, and Kelly and Scott, you guys probably both had these as well. I'm newer than both of you though. So have you ever made a prediction that then something changes and you're like, oh, never mind, I was wrong. And then it turns out being right?
Yeah,
so
of course.
Earlier this year, if people went back and watched on Investing Bros, I think it was our January 1st show or second show, whatever our first show was, I made the prediction that I said, watch us have a pretty good quarter one, but at the end of quarter one, sustain a good little crash, a good little dip. But then there was so much bullish momentum, I was kind of like, maybe I misread that. It looks like, inflation's getting back under control. I second guessed myself. And sure enough, that's exactly what we're seeing. Kelly, you asked earlier about the 4-year cycle. And to be fair, I wasn't in for all of these cycles, but doing back analysis, let's just take a look at what we're even seeing right now. First of all, we're not gonna have another halving, and this is part of that 4-year cycle, like psychology here. We're not gonna have another halving for an entire year, right? So we still got 52 weeks. I'm on the weekly chart right now. We still have 52 weeks. And there's nothing that's absolutely perfect, but go back to the past halvings. There's always in this range of 40 to 50 weeks, there's always another pullback. Of course, we had this nice I'm zooming in a little bit. We had the pandemic, which was a little bit different. That was a little bit of a black swan event. Who knows, with what we're looking at with our economy and the recession, maybe we're going to see something similar. But ultimately, look at this area right here. After breaking through back here in 2019, we started to dip again. And if I pull this up, let's go look. Halving happened right here. Let's pull over here. We started dipping again right here 30, 40 weeks into before that halving event happened. Doesn't mean the bull market hadn't started. Didn't mean the bottom wasn't in. It just meant, hey, we needed to dip again. We had to dip before the halving comes in. Well, same exact thing happened over here. We ended up double bottoming, but look at the timeline of from the halving event that we know the bullish momentum is starting, that last good dip 46 weeks before that event. Same thing over here. And again, it's not going to be perfect there, but let's go to the halving back in 2012. We had a nice little dip here 40 weeks right before. Didn't mean the bull market wasn't coming. It just is a nice little dip. Right now, it's like people want for the 4-year cycle, they want it to explode right now. But guess what? We're still an entire 50 some weeks away, 52 weeks away, give or take 54, it looks like. But we honestly could have a dip for the next couple of months and still be doing something very similar to what we've done in the past when it comes to the 4-year cycle. And there will be a day. There will be a day where the 4-year cycle is no longer what we should be using to make predictions. But it's one of those things, trends and an example of the past, they're your friends until they end. If they've been working in the past and you're still on pace, you don't just give it up just then. And a lot of these moves are making sense and doing similar things to what we've seen in past cycles. So could a lot of things change? Absolutely. But Kelly, I'm looking at the 4-year cycle and saying, hey, someday it will end, but maybe that's not this cycle. Maybe that's not today. We still have a lot of room before we could make that type of call.
No, I totally agree with that. Scott, is there anything that you wanted to add there? And also, I know you're going to be having to go here in a moment. I do want to get a little bit of magic sort of expert sort of thoughts. Are there, a lot of things we look at the traditional markets, people that are really looking broadly, getting at least a minimal amount of edge from seeing what's happening with the sort of the monetary policy and traditional assets, etc. And the same is true, I think, for Bitcoin and altcoin markets. Are there any things that you're seeing right now that are sort of developing I don't want to say on their own pace, but that are setting up in a more bullish fashion than Bitcoin is looking right now, whether it's Ethereum or Filecoin, or is there any special sort of altcoin that you kind of have your eye on right now currently?
Do 2-year treasuries count? Because I just bought a lot of bonds over the last few weeks. Treasuries.
That's a smart
I don't think that counts,
right
or it's what anyone wants to hear. But yes, I may not beat inflation every day of my life, but I'm certainly going to take 5% risk-free. I did the quotes for anybody who's listening, risk-free right now, and take the hedge fund approach, which is lose less when shit is bad, right? And so if I can get 5% right now, that's where I'm pretty much focusing my money and trying not to be as crazy as speculators I've been in the past. I want to kind of go back to what he was saying about the cycle, because it's important and it addresses what you said in your question just now as well. And I think and I've been talking about this a lot of late. I think that we are inundated on a daily basis with so much information that seems like signal, but all of it is noise. I'm not saying a little of it is noise. I'm saying that, okay, I'll give you a 99.9%. We have Fed governors contradicting each other, 12 of them giving speeches on a daily basis, and meetings and congressional hearings and every day. And I hear people talking about 80% chance of a 0.5 rate hike when it was 20% yesterday. And next week it'll be 30%. So is that signal to you or noise, right? We have a bunch of schizophrenic people who are flipping bias on hooked information, to be quite honest, information that's being presented in a manner for a reason on a daily, if not hourly basis, and none of it matters. So what does matter, right? If you're trying to eliminate the noise and look at the signal, nothing has changed about the 4-year cycle. You could have literally hibernated, opened that chart today, not known that there were problems with macro, not even known that FTX collapsed, Celsius, BlockFi, and Voyager, looked at that chart and said, We'll probably chop sideways for a bit. We'll have the halving, we'll go down a little, and then we'll start a new bull market. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but it's been as reliable an indicator as anything else, and is happening exactly the same way as he just pointed out. I have almost the exact same chart. I mean, I would argue that last June would have been the bottom in that cycle, if not for FTX. But the fact that we retrace that entire move back in 2 months and we're trading back above 21,473, which I just said was support, and that was the high before the FTX collapse right there. That means that that was an anomaly. It was a black swan. The market reverted to the mean of where it would have been, and the lows would have been in the 17,000s. That's what I believe. And I'm not going to, as much as I have to report on this stuff every day and write about it and whatever, I'm not getting consumed with it because none of it matters. This is mathematically programmed, right? You can talk about cycles in any other asset. Maybe this one fails, but it's literally mathematically programmed a change in supply and demand, right? That's why we love it. So I think that what I would say is there's nothing that I'm so excited about. My prediction, if I had to make one, and I will inevitably be wrong because my crystal ball sucks, just like the rest of everybody else's, is that we're going to chop sideways and have a really annoying year, right? And that chop could go down to 18 and back up to 25, might push to 28 to 30, get people really excited before going back to 18. I have no idea, right? It's really hard for me. Technical analysis works until it doesn't. But the bottom line is, I think you just got to hold in there and we'll get another cycle and there will be another bull run. So I don't care if it happens in May or if it happens in August. Suffered long enough already. I can suffer some more.
So then I'm gonna not hold your feet to the fire, but I'll ask you, Tim and Scott, both, if you had to, guess, and this obviously could be 100% wrong or perfectly on the dot. And
it will be 100% wrong.
That's what trading is, we're not looking at the price action today. We're trying to gather, looking forward. Everybody needs to understand when you're looking at any sort of what's happening in the market, it's forward looking, trying to speculate on if price is going to go up or down. If you were, knowing that the 4-year cycle is coming, March or April of next year, and this is also beautifully in line with this going into the first year of the presidential sort of cycle, and next year actually being the election. I myself am expecting some sort of whether it's now or the second half of the year, I'm not sure yet, because of everything happening right now. I am expecting some sort of bullish impulse, whether we get to 30K and get rejected and come back and retest the 20s, or if we get all the way up to that golden pocket and have the bull trap of all time all the way up, at that 50K level and then rejection down. If you had to guess this year, pre-having, knowing that we'll likely still get a pullback, where would you place your sort of wagers on where you're thinking Bitcoin might get to in this pre-having pump?
Tim, I'm going to jump in first because I have to record a podcast in about 3 minutes. Listen, I would say that my base case is 28 to 32. I know that that's a wide range, but there's just a number of reasons that if we had a chart up, I would tell you that would sort of be assuming we can break the 25-ish level. Listen, 25 could have been the high for the year. Wouldn't surprise me. I don't think that's what's going to happen, but wouldn't surprise me, right? That sort of case he made for the first quarter being bullish and then chopping around. We could just chop around between 20 and 25 for all I know and drive everybody absolutely insane. My base case is 28 to 32. I think if we break 25, there's nothing between there and that area, right? So it should at least go up and fill that void. I would be very surprised if we got above the high 30s, like 38 to 42. I don't think 50 is in the cards at all. But I think that if you were a betting person, you'd say at some point we go below 20 and at some point we go to 30. That's all I got. Where that's going to happen, but I think we end the year higher than we are now. I think we end the year in that kind of 28, 30-ish range.
And on that note, for everybody that may be new in the crypto space, and if you are new in the crypto space and new in investing and trading, what he just said does not spell profits or losses. What it does spell is opportunity, depending on what your plan and preparedness is. Because the reason why Bitcoin and the reason why crypto is so exciting is because there is volatility, and volatility is how you can make money if you're prepared. So if we do get all the way up to 38K and get rejected, that does not spell disaster. It only spells disaster for those that are unprepared. So I do want to make that note. And I want to shout out to Scott. I know you got to go. Thank you so much for coming on. It's been a pleasure, doing things with you, having you pop on my podcast, Crypto Answered, time and time again. One day I'll come and twist your arm. I'll come and be on your show.
Yeah, you're coming on soon for sure. 100%.
Let's do it. And everybody, in order to follow him, you can kind of go over to, this is not what I wanted to show. You could come over to this page right here. You can follow him at Scott Melker, which is the wolf of all streets. He is just a wonderful presence in the space. He provides a lot of great content. I think if I'm not mistaken, his newsletter is still, he used to have a paid newsletter, but he did make it free. Great. Yep. Free 5 days a week, great content. And he's hosting a lot of the events you see at a lot of the conferences. So with that, Scott, I bid you adieu. Thank you for being in my life and on my journey. I appreciate you, my friend. And thank you for coming on.
Awesome. Happy birthday, man. And Jesse, I wish I was wherever you are. I mean, I know it's not real, but I want to go there. I'll see you guys later. I got to go.
It's a real picture.
Bye, Tim.
Adios.
Yeah.
So look at this. We got another guest in the house. We got Mr. Jesse Olson himself.
Where's my hat? Where's my hat? Everyone's got a hat on.
You missed the memo. You missed the memo.
Yeah, you missed the memo, man. So everybody, if you're not aware of who Jesse is, Jesse was dubbed by one of the masters in the space himself, Mr. Tech Dev. Jesse was dubbed the Sniper. And just to shout Jesse out for a second, Jesse's been probably one of my most regular guests on the podcast I do every Thursday, which I will be doing later this afternoon, called Crypto Answered. Jesse was, I think, probably, if not the first, among the first people I saw in October and November of last year when everybody was bull hype central. It's going to go to 1,000. He was saying, I'm looking at $20,000. I'm looking at 18,000. He was mapping this out before people were calling him crazy as he could be. And that's when you know you're on the right track, is when you are calling out things that it's so contrarian, nobody can see is possible. And you know what? I think every one of the targets that he outlined back at the top of the bull market for dropping to the 20K, 18K levels, all those targets have been hit. So I give him a lot of credit for having what I call very forward-looking chart vision. So Tim, you're welcome to stay on. I'm going to throw it to Jesse for a little bit, get him to share some of his just absolutely endowed and girthy wisdom on the markets, and so he can let us know, what do you see and what are you feeling? And hey, my brother, thank you for being here with me. Thank you for being on my journey.
I don't think I can live up to that intro. So thank you. Appreciate it. Tim, good seeing you. Happy birthday, Kelly. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, if you want me to just jump right into the charts, I know you got limited time. So I don't know if you want to just go right into it, or
jump in. You can give us a little. We've gone over Bitcoin a little bit, but I'd love to see just a brief sort of outline of what you're seeing on Bitcoin, and then maybe some Ethereum, and then if you have any other sort of altcoin plays or any other leading sort of even traditional assets you're looking at that are giving you an edge on what you're seeing in the crypto market.
Yeah, I was gonna share. I was looking at this morning, and I was gonna share like these top 5 real fast of kind of what I'm seeing. And I do a lot of asset comparisons. So these 5, I've got some comparisons for people to take a look at. So just hit the share screen button and jump right in.
Yep.
Okay. Can you guys see that?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I'll put it right under here, the 5 that I'm going to look at. So Cardano, I have mapped out. So it's a larger box than normal because there's more reasons why. There's a confluence of reasons why. Like typically a target box for me is two major reasons for me of why price should come back to that area. This larger box I have on Bitcoin, Ethereum, near, and even I had it on silver futures. You can see Cardano came back to this box already. So I changed it from like a golden box to a green box as, hey, price came back to this area that we had mapped out. And, like I said, there's a confluence of reasons why. So if you look at near, same thing, the larger box, it came back to this area as well. And then on silver futures, there was like a smaller box like this up here, and then there was a big confluence area here. And so it blew past that, and then it hit this lower box down here, which is also below the trend line. So something to keep an eye on. Silver futures, I've been kind of using as a leading indicator. It's not correlated 1-to-1. I just like to look at it for like gold futures, even the traditional market futures, and then of course Bitcoin as well. So it seemed like silver kind of led the way out. It hit key target areas that Bitcoin did as well, and then led the way down as well. So it went below that big confluence box, and we don't know if it's going to find support at this key area down here. But as of this second, it looks like it is. But it's too early to call it, right?
So let me ask you a question really quick, because one of the things I try to do, I think all of us forget pretty regularly where it is we are on our own journey and understanding of charts and all these sorts of things. And one of the things I really try to make sure to focus on this channel is kind of throwing the rope back to the super beginners. So one of the, if you could just very briefly outline, and I can draw on your chart, outline how you determine this box as a target. What gave you the indication that this is where you're looking for a target on this chart?
So that one has to do with fib retracement and the anchored VWAP. So those two, came in with a target box there, and then the larger one up here, of course, you got the 200-week moving average. Also bearish, well, not bearish divergence, that's on Bitcoin, but like a bearish divergence reason. And so there's different factors, but I believe this one was from fib retracement and anchor VWAP. Okay.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Now, just continue on. I like to sort of give people an indication how and why we're pulling some of the things we're doing, so they can learn along the way and do it for themselves as well.
For sure. That's the best way to learn, is to, have a couple ideas and then just back test it and figure it out yourself. You got to put in the work though. It's a lot of work. So then if you go to Ethereum, kind of fast forward where, hit that preliminary target box like I told you on silver. There's a larger box. You can see this chart looks very similar to the silver futures. That's why I have silver futures up, even though we're talking about crypto. You're looking at Ethereum, so very similar boxes. And so silver did come back down to this area, and even came all the way back down here. So even a very similar trend line. If I were to do a side-by-side comparison, the Ethereum trend line, target boxes, 200-week moving average all look very similar to silver futures. And it doesn't mean it's going to play out exactly 1-to-1 or 100%. It's just for ideas. So other reasons why you get in for triggers, breakdown of a trend line, buy, sell on the indicator, all kind of lining up. And then you've got targets that are mapped out on asset comparison, side by side to where price could go, right? So high probability that it's going to hit the first target box. I feel very strongly it's going to hit this target box. The probabilities continue to stack up as it's getting closer and closer. It's a lower probability that's going to hit this lower target box, but silver has. So it's an idea to keep on the radar that, hey, price may not find support at this trend line and bounce. It may come all the way down here like silver did. So it's an awareness to keep it on the chart. stay focused on it. Bitcoin, similar. So they all look slightly different, but this is another confluence area. That upper box got hit. I took out the smaller box and just included it because I got lazy with my boxes. But the lower target box, I just included into the bigger target box because for me, it's like if it's coming down here, my base case is that it's going to find support, break out, and then make the next move up. So of course, I'm prepared for lower, and don't tell the bulls, but I took profits up here, and I'm currently holding a short position because my strategy is a little bit more aggressive than what you probably should have, or definitely if you're a newbie, you shouldn't have this as aggressive of a strategy. But on my trading account, I stay in Bitcoin. I don't ever go back to USDT or USD. Because I stay in Bitcoin, so I'm kind of like forced to I'm either going to be in a long position or just holding the coin as a no position. But I definitely can't miss a short position because I'm holding the coin and I don't want to give back value. So it'd be like, at the very least, it'd be a short hedge position, like staying in Bitcoin. So
on that note, are you, of course, you're looking at this as a Bitcoin to Tether chart. Are there any charts that you're watching currently that are on the, name the altcoin BTC pair that you're looking at as performing better than Bitcoin right now that you're using, not as a hedge, but as a means of trading those sort, or at least using that as an edge to trade even still the USDT pairs?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I'm not right now. I have looked at it in the past, but for me, I don't like to be in too many trades because I want to know the trade that I'm in inside and out. So I'm looking at all these charts and they're all correlated to or look very similar to Bitcoin. So I'm looking at them a lot because I'm in a Bitcoin short position until a breakout, and then I'm going to play the to the upside as well on the breakout. So I'm looking at them all a lot, like obsessive amount of time. But for me, it's I don't like to be in too many trades because then I feel like my skills get watered down, and I'm not like as focused in as I need to be. Some people can do 20 and 50 trades at once. I can't. I know my limits. I know I'm really good at 1 to 3 trades. I cannot have 20 open trades at one time. I'm a watered down version of myself, and I can't do that when I'm risking real money. So
are you trading? Is there any specific altcoin or two that you've been watching lately that have either on the precipice of breaking out or maybe already have broken out, or are you really just fully focusing on Bitcoin at the moment?
No, I watch it all, and I post a lot, especially in the, to the members and stuff, just because, I'm looking at, we have a lot of investors who are not, swing traders on the daily chart. So we're looking at it on a higher time frame. So that's why, based off the higher time frames, that's why I think it's and things could change, right? And so we keep an eye on it and stay fluid. But the reason why I think it's going to find support and balance is because the higher time frames, it takes a while for the ship to get turned around. And so the higher time frames are looking more bullish, and things continue to check off milestones of why the ship is turning around. Of course, you've got the macro, traditional markets that there's a lot of negatives out there. So just being aware that, things could reverse and all of a sudden not look as bullish. But on the higher time frames right now, for example, I've been documenting a lot where, hey, MACD crossed over on the weekly chart. Hey, MACD went above the 0 line on the weekly chart. So that's another milestone of bullishness. Hey, the 2-week Bitcoin MACD, and I could add the indicator on here, but I just kind of know it from other charts. But the 2-week MACD crossed over positive. Hey, the MACD looks like it's going to hit the 0 line on the 2-week chart. These are all like milestones of like bullishness that I'm keeping an eye on basically all day, every day. So, that's the reason why I think, this is going to find support and then bounce to make that next move. But of course, things could reverse on you anytime. So you got to be prepared for it. But those are the reasons why. So a lot of, like, the answer to your question, I was watching DOT. A higher probability that the bottom is in is waiting for a higher low, right? So you've got a potential low, and then waiting for a higher low is the higher probability to take, buy the right dip, right? Or if you're at the very top of the market and you're looking to short it, a higher probability is shorting the bounce, right? So that first initial impulse move down, followed by a bounce, that lower high is the higher probability short of that bounce. Same with on like DOT. So like if you kind of zoom out on DOT, right? You've got like this break of the trend line. You've got a target box up here. You got the anchor VWAP that hasn't been touched in probably almost a year. And then, once that higher low is put in and starts to make that move out, that's the higher probability long position. So on these higher time frames, like the weekly chart for investors and stuff, like, that's what I'm watching for on DOT, near, this whole list right here, basically all looking very similar. So it's kind of a wait, stay patient, don't put all your eggs in one basket, kind of make sure you're diversified, and wait patiently for that move. So I know that's a long-winded answer.
No, it's dude. I never find you long-winded because everything you say holds value, and I appreciate you. I know I was messaging you earlier. I think us living in this digital world that we live in, sometimes we forget other people are on the other side of the world. When I was messaging you earlier, you're like, you didn't say bro, but you're basically like, bro, it's 4 a.m. here. So I appreciate the response. I appreciate you hopping on. We're going to have Miss Teen Crypto coming on here in a moment as well. For anybody that wants to follow Mr. Jesse Olson, you can go over and find him right here on this. Basically, this is his page at Jesse Olson, JESSEOLSON. He provides so much great content, just out of not only the kindness of his heart, he is in this to do it. He's not in this for any recognition. He's sharing his journey along the way and helping people basically make money along the way. And Tino, I don't know if anybody follows Tino from Traders Reality. He was on Frankie Candles last night, and he had mentioned essentially that essentially you could share a winning strategy that's 100% hit rate with 4 people, and only one out of those 4 people might have the 100% hit rate because the other 3 people might not have the right mindset, the right patience, the right allocation of time. Somebody might be following the signals from somebody that's scalping on a 2-minute chart, but they're trading expecting, a 3-month window. And so the trade goes opposite direction because all of these strategies and with the signals or suggested setups somebody brings up might only be relevant to a specific time frame they're talking about. So it's worth everybody's own responsibility. If you're ever looking into somebody's strategy system signals, to always ask what their time frame is and figure out if that fits within your own availability of time and your own sort of time frame. So I just wanted to shout that out. And again, Jesse, I really do appreciate you being here. Looks like we got Tim still in the house. We got Randy here, Miss Teen Crypto. We got Jesse. We had Scott Melker on earlier. We had Crypto Burb on yesterday. I can't say how honored I am to have such a wonderful sort of community of people, of all of us supporting each other and growing. And I'm being a little selfish today yesterday. Today's my birthday. So I shot out some messages to say, come on, let's do some streams. Let's share some alpha. So thank you, everybody coming on. Jesse, you're welcome to hang out a little longer. I'm going to throw it over to Miss Teen Crypto. Randy, somebody in chat said, we've got to not stop until you change your name online to Randy Savage, because you make some savage calls and you're one of the youngest in the game that has, you know how sometimes you can talk to a 55-year-old and they act like they're 12, and other times you can talk to a 12-year-old and they have more wisdom than a 60-year-old. Well, you're neither 12 nor 60, but you've got such a good grasp on what's going on in the crypto market, especially coming from such a young voice the day after International Women's Day. So I figure, why the heck would I not have a powerhouse of a woman here on the stream today for my birthday, and also to support you. So I'm curious, your thoughts on the market, how you doing, how you feeling, and any words that you have for anybody that's trying to dominate, or not even dominate, but at least not be dominated by what's going on in the market right now.
Well, thank you for the kind words. I appreciate you, Kelly. It was nice meeting you IRL recently in New York, in the city. That was awesome. And happy birthday, by the way. Everyone smash those likes. We have like 230 people watching. We don't have enough likes for the birthday celebration. So let's make sure we hit those likes. We say happy birthday in the chat. Thank you for having me, and hi to everyone in the chat. Everyone's so awesome in there. A lot of good vibes. As for the market, I'm not worried. I haven't been worried since I entered this space. When I first created my Twitter account in April 2020, Bitcoin was 7K. I'm just as bullish then as I am now. And I really do believe in this space and the whole fundamentals versus the pumpamentals of being your own bank, being able to empower yourself by owning your assets, peer-to-peer transactions. So that's why I'm here, and that's the future. And I think anything in the short term is nothing to worry about. When in doubt, zoom out on the yearly charts, and you see where we're going. We see that, Bitcoin has gone down 70 to 80% many times in the past. It's just a part of the history, and maybe it'll continue to be a part of the history. But keep calm, hodl on. We're all going to make it. There's a ton of institutions continuing to come into this space, a lot of liquidity coming into this space, and a lot of international recognition lately. So I think we're going to be okay. Don't worry.
So I just say ditto, and I agree with everything you just said. How are you feeling right now with all the news that's been coming out lately? Feels like, and it doesn't even so much feel like it seems like it's apparent that there is a sort of coordinated, I think some people are calling it the coordinated choke point, sort of basically this coordinated effort to not, we have Silvergate not only shutting down, but also now sort of closing their positions, which has been the major on-ramp and off-ramp for liquidity for the majority of major crypto exchanges out there. Luckily, a lot of these exchanges have started to pivot, which I think is going to be a good thing in the long run, as it helps to support this decentralized notion that we're all talking about. All the while, all of us did not acknowledge that the entire on-ramp and off-ramp sort of community was a centralized faction. So it's kind of ironic through all this point. We're having, as Chris Rock's most recent special just aired, titled Selective Outrage. I think in a lot of ways, we're being very selective about the things that we are supporting and not supporting. So I'm just curious right now, Randy, your thoughts with so much FUD coming into the market, starting to be balanced with some, whether it's false hopium, with the news about Grayscale suing the SEC over a potential ETF, BlackRock also moving forward with a potential ETF. And I think a lot of people are assuming that when that happens, it means it's going to be a moonshot for the markets. Whereas I sort of look back to when Bakkt launched, when Coinbase IPO'd. There's been a number of things that a lot of people thought were going to moonshot the market, whereas within a week that also was the local top, and a huge downside happened afterwards. So with those things taking place in conjunction with XRP case also potentially coming to a close soon, which will be inherently and hopefully very bullish for the markets, how are you sort of dealing with your navigation of just whether it be internally or actually actionably in the charts, considering where Bitcoin's trajectory might be going over the next 2 quarters, because I think that's going to be these things are all going to be a major impact on what happens this year, despite what's happening with the halving. So what's your sort of thoughts on that overwhelmingly long-winded question?
I really do think dollar cost averaging and continuing to just accumulate cryptocurrency is the most important thing. Again, back to the fundamentals of being your own banking, having money that belongs to you. As you can see, the fiat on-ramp and off-ramps are being kind of corrupted right now. There's a coordinated crypto attack and crypto crackdown from pretty much all angles, whether that's staking, exchanges in general. They tried to block the Binance deal, a bunch of things going on. Even Caitlin Long with Custodia, she got rejected again. And you could see, even she called it before it even happened. She said it was a coordinated attack and it was a unanimous decision to reject her, right? So I do think either way, we're going to face issues, but as we could see, people are saying, oh, I'm going to take profits. But what if you can't take profits? Like, what if the banks don't allow you to take profits, right? It's all about, again, having money that belongs to you. Make sure you're not cut off from accessing cryptocurrency and being able to buy it. If you have the opportunity to, again, accumulate money that belongs to you, then I suggest you do it. Because, again, with these crypto crackdowns, you never know what exchange could go down. You never know where your bank stands on things, because every day there's new banks, again, cutting off people from accessing cryptocurrency, buying and selling it. Get what's yours. Make sure, again, that you have money that belongs to you. And I do think even in the long term, a lot of this stuff is just going to be a blip in the radar. I mean, we had Mt. Gox. When that originally happened, that was one of the main exchanges, right? But then Coinbase was still building at that time. And then Binance came about. And then you had all of these other exchanges that came. So a lot of people said at that time, crypto was dead because there were little on and off ramps. But crypto still grew. The economy still grew. And the development is still here. And I think there's more innovation and more money coming into the space now than ever. And I don't think that's going to stop. So I think, again, long term, this isn't going to be something that we really worry about because everyone's flowing in every which way. Don't worry. I really do think it's something that's going to pass us by. Short term, it hurts. It's just like, wow, all these people are leaving us. People are coming in. What do we do? Mass confusion. It's all a part of the process. This happens every cycle.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I think if we look historically, do any sort of historical analysis on, major negative events in the crypto ecosystem, barring something like Celsius, which was a sort of coordinated attack from FTX. When you look at a lot of the collapses, a lot of the things that have happened, it felt like they were the worst time to happen because they were near the end of bear markets. However, and they basically helped to establish, finally get into those cycle lows. But if we really think about it, it's like Warren Buffett says, you don't know who's swimming naked until the tide goes out. And I think when the market pulls back as far as it does in a bear market, especially in a very speculative asset class that is still very new. It's people that have been in it, you, Randy, Tim, Jesse, any of us that have been in, anybody that's been in the market, honestly, for 12 months or more. If you've been in for 12 months or more, it feels like you've been in the market for 4 decades. So if somebody's been in for 5 years or 6 years plus, like I have, it feels like this is a tried and true, very established market. And, there's proven historical analysis. And we have to remember that all the historical analysis that we can do up until now has been historical analysis in the context of quantitative easing and money printing and a bull market. So right now, one of the biggest struggles, if anybody's wondering why analysts that you see on, the crypto YouTubes, on crypto Twitter, any of the, basically front-facing, public-facing sort of analysts are people that just have a voice to the public. There seems like there's a sort of confusion or indecision, and you know what? It's because there is. We're towards the market cycle bottoms, whether we have bottomed or not. We are in the most difficult time of the market to trade, which is either bottom accumulation periods or top distribution periods, because there's a lot of unclear signals. And right now, that is marked also with the fact that we are also facing an entirely different economic context than we've ever faced, with quantitative tightening, with interest rates, with inflation, with all of that also not only being the case, but it's also in the face of an global economic situation that we've also never faced before, following 3 years of an entire global economic shutdown. So how do we even weigh if we're going to go into a recession or not based on historical data, when a lot of these things may self-resolve? Some of them won't. Some of them are going to have to do with monetary policy. So the answer right now is yes, there is massive pervasive uncertainty in the market. And for anybody that is leverage trading, I hope that you have incredibly tight risk management. And more than that, I would recommend right now is not the time to be leverage trading. Right now is the time to be identifying, as Randy said, your spots to DCA. And once we have established the trend, meaning we've broken out more clearly above 25,200, 25,300, then you can start picking your spots on those push-up pullbacks to establish when we want to leverage trade. So as we move towards closing out the show here, I just want to say shout out to everybody in chat. I really appreciate everybody being here. If you have not yet, do the service to the crypto ecosystem. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. You're not just supporting this channel, you're letting YouTube know that this type of content is important to you, and it helps support growing the crypto ecosystem. So last question before we go, Tim, if you could only, other than Bitcoin, if you could only buy 2 altcoins right now preparing for the next bull run, what would they be? You're muted at the moment, good sir. You can just mouth the words.
He got rugged. I think his mic.
How about mouth the words? No. We're going to read your lips. You have to say it very slowly. Say, Ada. No. Sign language. Oh,
XRP.
XRP. All right. We got that. Okay. And what's the next one?
Jesse.
I don't know. Well, as he's, oh, there we go. You pulled it up. Okay. And Matic. All right. Yeah. Matic is absolutely poised. As high as it's run, it is having a little bit of a pullback, but they've had such development, so many partnerships. Disney. I can't remember all the partnerships, but Starbucks. So there's so many projects that are so many major institutional players that have partnered with Matic. So those are 2 great projects to keep an eye on. Jesse, if you had to pick 2 altcoins other than Bitcoin and Ethereum, what would they be if you had to, and they're the only 2 that you're going to prepare for the next bull run? He's muted also. What's going on with the mute, baby? Ask to unmute.
Oh, there you go.
There we go.
There we go, baby.
I was, some of the charts I was looking that looked there could be at least a bear market rally, a large one for 2023. Getting into 2024, 2025, we'll see what the charts look like then, but it could be massive bounces. Would be like looking at the charts, DOT, even Solana, they had a huge drop, so there's a lot of potential there. Cardano, Near. So basically, I'm watching a lot of these, Matics on there. Out of like these 15 to 20, all have huge potentials based off of what the charts are seeing. So, but I really I keep going back to like DOT. And then of course, Matic's been really bullish compared to like other assets. Like you say, there's a lot of fundamentals out there, but from the chart standpoint, Matic has seems like it's been outperforming, many of the other cryptos. So.
Well, thank you for that. And Randy, what would be your 2?
My 2, I would say Litecoin and Ethereum.
Litecoin. I always, I gotta shout out for Litecoin because I don't know why. Maybe it's just because I'm out of the sort of Litecoin community. Like I'm not paying attention to it. But I'm always overwhelmed with how strong and how enduring the Litecoin community has been. While I'm also seeing, and this again might be because of my bias, it might be because of just my lack of focus, I don't feel like I see much news media coverage, sort of media support, promotion of Litecoin. So it's always surprised me and how enduring that project has been. And I think you've called it out on one of the shows we were on together recently, that Litecoin has been, at least in the past, a little bit of a front runner to some of the Bitcoin movements, especially in the last bull cycle. It ran before Bitcoin did. So it's always good to find an edge there. So, you know, I appreciate you shouting that out. And if it were me, you know, there's about 14 that I could list. But if it's only 2, I would say, because I'm already pretty situated on a lot of the stuff that I want. I'd really like to accumulate more GRT, the graph, because of the sort of infrastructure play as blockchain grows and the need to be able to cross-facilitate and index the data between those different. So I think that's a very strong infrastructure play. And then, you know, some people are going to think I'm out of my mind for this, but everybody has their own time and their own agenda, and they're only as much as they can focus on. But I don't think I've missed out at all. But XRP, and I haven't missed out because it's had a run, and now it's pulled back down to great accumulation zones. So that's my next move. I am going to try and get involved with that before the SEC news goes out, because I do think it's an excellent straddle play. Some people argue it's not a decentralized thing, it's a banker's coin, but you know what? That's a great hedge. Get involved in a blockchain that is rooted in people with money that aren't going to shut it down. So that's one of the coins that I am looking at. And again, I want to say thank you, everybody, for
Kelly,
being
can
here.
I throw a curveball real quick?
Yo, curve it, baby.
I'll keep it short. So some of the Bitcoin miners in the stocks, you know, whether it's Riot or Bitfarms or Hut, they actually outperform Bitcoin to the upside. So I wouldn't sleep on the Bitcoin miners either. So keep it. I know it's not crypto, but it's crypto related. So some of those had massive. If you go back and see, you know, they're kind of harder to catch, but those, you know, very similar to altcoins, way outperformed Bitcoin. So I just want to throw one curveball out there.
No, you know, that's great. And it's a good point. I think a lot of us get so focused on just Bitcoin or just altcoins we want, and we forget that there are a wealth of a lot of basically traditionally not centered, positioned assets out there, like Riot, like Mara, like even NVIDIA in some aspects, you know, Grayscale. There's a lot of stuff that is available in the traditional sort of framework that you can have basically crypto adjacent exposure. So that's a great point. And again, thank you all. Tim Warren, you can find him at Tim's_TA. Mr. Jesse Olson, you can find at Jesse Olson, and that's OLSON. And then you can also find, of course, which I have not thrown up yet, you can also find Miss Teen Crypto right here at Miss Teen Crypto. She's got her own YouTube show, as well as just being involved in all kinds of things across the space. So again, I appreciate everybody here, and to shout out to the community and everybody in chat. Thank you all so much for being here. I love building this community. I love sharing data. I love sharing the journey together. And with that, I hope you all have an absolutely wonderful day. And I will see everybody here back in stream tomorrow. And all the guests, thank you so much for being on. And again, shout out again also to Scott Melker, who is on, which you can find at Scott Melker. So with that, I bid you adieu. I'll see you later,
Happy
everybody.
50th birthday.
Happy birthday,
Yeah.
comment after
Happy
the show.
birthday,
Happy birthday.
Kelly.
Yeah, everybody
Smash
drop
the
your
like.
comments, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and ding that bell. And now it's time for the Adios Muchachos song. Adios, everybody. Adios, muchachos. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being here again. Adios, muchachos. Thank you for coming. We're gonna do this again and again. Adios, muchachos. That's right.